you can tell by my face, I'm not great still. Yeah, it's been, oh my God, I've been sick for so long, it's driving my head nuts. I'm getting there, it's just gonna take some time. But yeah, anyway, besides that, we're going to a clean slate. Now, so sorry it's a bit late, because due to me being sick, it has been very hard to do these videos as well, so please just be patient at a time like this. Anyway, so yeah, so we're going to a clean slate. That is a new show, a Prime video, so go check it out as well. Now, I believe the show was supposed to come out in 2023 because when it's a really good show. Go check it out. I binge watched because I was sick of bed and I had nothing else to do. So I was like, oh, well, might as well watch the show then. So I did that. It was really funny, gave me a laugh because I was just like really miserable from being sick. So something like this to lift your spirits up is also a good thing as well. But I believe the show was supposed to come out in 2023 because I think it was after the first episode. They had a tribute to Norman Lee. I'm like, who the heck is this Norman Lee person? We'll get to him later on. I looked him up as well. Very famous, I can't remember what he did. Was it director, executive producer, something like that? I know, but very famous person, what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so this show is so good, really good. There's a lot of Black American television shows nowadays. Usually they focus more on the political side, but this one really doesn't. Oh, maybe at the end towards of the other episodes they do, but not really. So it's a really good show. I highly suggest it. So this was supposed to come out in 2023 due to the tribute as well, but unfortunately due to the strikes and the pandemic, a lot of things have been pushed back and delayed as well. So yeah, so speaking of like Black American comedies, I tried to watch a show on Netflix called Family Reunion. I'm not sure if you heard that show. I tried to watch it. I gotta be honest with you, I couldn't get through. It was too political. I stand alone when it comes to political stuff. As well, because America is a very political place as well right now with a lot of things going on. So I tried to watch it. I did not care for it. I'm like, what is this show? This is supposed to be comedy based, not like that. But yeah, I tried to watch it. Did not work out as well. Also, this reminds me of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as well, where it's kind of like that comedy, sitcom type. We'll talk about that later on. Reminds me of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but it's more than that. It's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I did watch the show because I was you have to watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I did. Now, before the slap happened, I listened to Will Smith's music a lot. Unfortunately, can't do that now because what he did was pretty bad. If you seen it, like there was like, was that the Oscars or Emmys? Like Chris Rock was hosting, and Will Smith, he said a joke to his wife about alopecia. By the way, Jada Pinkett Smith has always had her hair short and shaved, so you can't tell if it's alopecia or what. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, so I've learned though to have a finer line on that. I can't listen to Will Smith anymore. Like I can't. Because what he did was really bad. He insulted another black person. And today, we talk about like different representations and different diversity and different races. That if you go and do that to your own kind, that makes you basically not abuse it, but the target. So yeah, I can't watch anything that involves Will Smith as well due to that. But that's just my preference. But I realized two things while being online. Never get too far about Will Smith and never get into a fight with Michael Jackson, because people will have a lot to say about those two things. Like, what Michael Jackson do? Did do that? I was like, yes, he did. He actually did that. How can you not believe that? So people are just have their own beliefs, I guess, but you can't factor the fact what you did was wrong. So yeah, so this reminds me of that. Besides what's going on, I did watch the what was it? It was the other day, the Grammys when they did music, and I had to skip the Will Smith part. I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't watch anything with him anymore. It's ridiculous. But yeah, but not the point. But this show is kind of like that. But the difference is with this show and that show, it has a lot more political standards. Like they talk about discrimination, being a single, having no father in your life, and all the other stuff, and being just because you're black, being accused of something that you're not. So it has that, but this is not like that. This is more of a light-hearted, funny show as well, which we get to right now. So anyway, yes. So I looked at this person. Like, who is this Norman Lee person? Why is he so famous and so important to the series? I did not know this, but he did a lot of famous sitcoms back in 70s, I think it was 70s, 90s, something like that. So I think he written them, didn't he? I can't remember. Did he write them? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you guys know. So he did All the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times, The Facts of Life, Sanford and Son, Maud as well. So those are if you see those shows, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so the fact that he did the show while he was still, while he's not here anymore, but the fact that he did the show still, it's really impressive because when the tribute came on for him, like, wait a second, that was back in 2023. What? Today is 2020. This year's 2025, basically. So yeah, he was a very famous person for doing like the black sitcoms, but also not black sitcoms, but also like white, like with black American shows these days. It's all about black people and stuff like that. You probably get sick of it, but with this show, it has white people to balance out the race as well. So I think that's very interesting how you can have both and not one feed. I think that's a problem with sitcoms sometimes. They have like one feed, but they don't have the other feed. So I said this had both, like to include both races, whether you're white or black, African American, stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that as well. And I would say I put Clean Slate in this category with these shows because it's just so good. Very lighthearted comedy. It doesn't take itself too seriously because I think we're in a world today where like, we need something to switch our brains off. So this is a really good show to do it as well. Also, there's another show I want to point out called Different Strokes that also has that type of feel as well to it as well, where it's like, because I've seen some clips of that show as well. I haven't seen it, but I've seen some old cartoon because people like to put up old vintage stuff like I Love Lucy on Instagram. Sometimes I see that pop up in my search as well. So yeah, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, you name it. So it's also Clips Alive, and they balance both white race and black race, which I thought was very interesting. And plus, also like a blended family type thing, and I thought that was really clever because you don't have that. I mean, back in the day, it was a bit different, but nowadays you can have like blended families. Some kids some kids have that race, some people don't. So I kind of like the blended family aspect, and it kind of remind me of that as well. So let's talk about the show now. So yeah, so this show, like I said, really good. Go check it out. If you're bored, go check it out. Just put it on your TV. It's a really good show. So yeah, so in the show, I thought they tackled parenting styles very interesting because Desiree and Mac, I think it was. Mac was talking about that he doesn't want to be hard on his kid. And, Desiree says, I wish I had that growing up as well. He kind of explains that he doesn't want to be a tough dad as well. You kind of see his story. I won't say too much, but you kind of see his story and how his upbringing was and how, I can't say too much, but you have to check out the show for yourself, but how life is different to some people in general, whether it's just like, because when your upbringing is very different to many different people across the world even. So when my mum was growing up, she had two older sisters, and back then I think you could say like they could get away with stuff easier back in the day. Like if your kids did well, you could just spank them, or like smoke in the house or something like that, or like it's a very different time we're living in now. Nowadays you can't actually do that. Unfortunately, some parents are like that, like I said before in my other video. But at the same time, it's like my upbringing is different to my mum's upbringing, So yeah, it's interesting. Like I like the fact that he said that. I'm like, I can relate to that because my mum would say the same thing to me as well. But it's interesting that Desiree had a very tough upbringing with her dad, and obviously her dad was very strict on her growing up as well, and she was a runaway. She ran away from home when she was a teenager. So you have those different dynamics between the two characters, and I kind of like that. Like they've both done bad things when they were younger. A lot of kids back in the day would have done bad things as well that they regret. Like, I wish I had done that. But nowadays you can't actually get away with that because the world has changed. And speaking of, me and my mum were having a conversation just the other day about how bullying or like how the world is different. Because back in my day, when I was bullied at school, no one did anything about it. Like none of the teachers didn't care about it. Nowadays, I think there's more awareness to the world, and I wish I had that growing up as well. Because it's interesting. Like nowadays, I think you're going to see women more in power, bullying needs to stop as well. I hope they're doing that in every school as well where you guys are in the world, because I think it's just a very important message, and I like how they explored that too with the not the dynamics, but like I said, different people have different upbringings as well. You might not believe it, but some people unfortunately are poor, some people aren't. We're not all millionaires. I mean, some people are, but we're not all rich and famous. I'm sorry to say, we're not. We're just like people living our own lives. But upbringings are very different to every individual person, and I kind of like that how they put that in that show as well. So let's talk about characters. So we've got Lara Cox. She's a transgender actress. It took me a while to episode. Oh, what episode was this? Because this has 8 episodes, by the way, so it's not long or anything. The episodes go really quickly, but it's a lot of fun to binge watch as well. So go check it out. So yeah, so she's a transgender person. One of the episodes, I'm like, wait a minute, is she like some kind of transgender person? I watch too much RuPaul's Drag Race. Watched her on RuPaul's Drag Race? I don't think so. I can't remember. I know who she is. Like I was like, oh my god, there's so many familiar faces in the show, which is insane, which we get to later on. Like, oh my god, I've seen that person somewhere in like TV or movie, so I might have seen it somewhere. But maybe I saw her in an interview one time. Maybe that's where I saw her. But she is a transgender actress, as well. And also, like, I think there was one in Supergirl too. There was a transgender actress in Supergirl, the CW show as well. So I like how, they go like different, not genders, but she's obviously female here. I'm trying to say, but you can see that they're trying to, that doesn't define the actress. She's just playing a role here. So I kind of like that. Just because you're that person or not that, it doesn't define who you are. And I'm glad that didn't make her, what's the word I'm looking for, making her stuck in a place. Because sometimes, you're labeled as certain thing, like autism, for example, as well, but that doesn't define who we are or who I am, basically, as well. So you kind of forget that. So kind of like how she did just, she got this role, she was transgender as well, but that didn't define her. That didn't define her, which I thought was a really good message to show, people out there who are that as well. So yeah, she plays Desiree, the daughter of I can't remember her dad's name. Oh no, the dad. You know what I mean? The dad. I don't know. Anyway, yes, I thought she did a really good job, but at first I was like, okay, what's going on with her character? Because like, oh no, we're gonna have another situation where it's like with Frasier, with what's her name? Oh no, Olivia. So, oh no, we're gonna have the same situation as Olivia and from Grease the Rise Pig Ladies, that girl as well. We're gonna have another thing like that. But actually, it's not like that. It's completely different. So I liked at first. It was like she's trying to, because she obviously moved back to Alabama. I think this is set in Alabama. I think, and I liked because she's kind of like a girl that came from New York to Alabama, so she moved back to Alabama with her dad, of course, and she's kind of like the new kid in town, basically, the polished, that kind of person, and she keeps talking about a therapist, and she does some really weird stuff in the show. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Are you okay? You're having a mental breakdown. I was like, what? But as episode I think it's episode 3. Episode 3, she really started to click. She really became more funnier as a character. And I think that kind of shows you that the new girl kid is kind of wearing off her, which I kind of love. So we got to see more of her. And I thought she was a really good foil to George Wallace as well. I mean, those two like bounced off like 9 days to say. So I thought she did a really good job. It took a while. I would say episode 3 and 5, I think, from memory, are really good because she just sells the humor, she just sells it as well, and it's incredible. So congrats to her. So I really enjoyed her performances. It's a really good job. She doesn't define, who she is or anything, and I think that's fantastic. So good for her. Okay, so George Wallace, he also did a really good job. I know him from somewhere. And I did not notice. I looked it up. He's a comedian. Oh my god, that's insane. he's in a sitcom and he's also a comedian as well. And I checked out what he's been in. He's been in a lot of things as well. So I'm like, I've seen this person somewhere before. Like, so I thought he did a really good job. Also, he plays the dad. Oh my god, he's really good. I really enjoyed his performance so much. I don't know if he speaks that way, but every line delivery that he does is just so hilarious. Like, I cracked up at him no reason. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's hilarious. I'm like, he's a comedian. Because sometimes when comedians do like a movie or a show like this, it's hard to, get them to be likable in the role like this. But I thought he did a pretty good job, so kudos to him. I was trying to think of he reminded me of like a 90s dad or 1940s dad because I don't know if he speaks like that in real life, or maybe he just put a voice on for the character. But he just reminded me of the 1940s, and Desiree's dad is kind of set in his ways basically, so he's trying to get out of that. I'm like, yeah, that's interesting as well. It's very hard for older generations to accept the newer generations, and I thought that was kind of fun to explore that with him as well, like see it through his eyes. And I think, if you're a parent or like a grandmother or like a grandpa, you might experience that as well. So I thought it was really interesting from that perspective as well. With his daughter showing up out of nowhere, trying to reconnect, stuff like that. So I thought it was really good. I was trying to think of 90s dads that come to mind. I don't think so. He kind of reminds me of Mufasa and the Lion King, to be honest with you. I put that comparison because he's both strict, but also very funny and loving at the same time. And he is so funny, he is so hilarious in the show. There's one scene in particular, I won't spoil if you haven't seen it, there's one scene in particular where it's the first episode, and Desiree's about to leave, and he goes for the export, and, these guards are trying to stop him from going. He's like, I want to see my daughter. He slams on the bus, and Desiree, don't go, Desiree, don't go. And then she gets involved, oh my god, it's so hilarious. Comedic timing is important for a sitcom, and unfortunately a lot of sitcoms don't have that, so I'm like, oh my god, it's amazing. So it was really good. It was so funny, really, really funny. I also really enjoyed it as well. It was really, really funny. To put a comedian in a show or a sitcom and just knocked it out of the park is insane to me, because a lot of comedians can't do that, but he's excelled. So he did a really good job. He was so funny. I really enjoyed his performance. Gave me a laugh out as well. Besides to be so funny, hilarious, he also has emotional moments between Desiree and him. And oh my god, I think one of the scenes, was it this scene or when Desiree's crying in the finale? No spoilers what happens, but it's a really good finale. It really sets up season 2 if they decide to do season 2 as well. So yeah, so he's really good at emotional moments and pulling your heartstrings out. And there's one episode in particular where I won't spoil here. He goes through a health condition thing. That's all I'll say here. But that conversation between him and Desiree, it was so touchy. It was so touchy-feely that I really enjoyed it. He's also really funny, but he can balance the emotional parts as well. So I think that's fantastic. Like I said, I really enjoyed his performance. He did a really good job. It's very hard for a comedian to do that, but he knocked it out of the park. Okay, so Thelma Hopkins. Oh my god, I've seen her somewhere as well. I've seen this person. They've got some really good people for this sitcom, I gotta tell you. I'm not gonna lie to you. George Wallace and Thelma Hopkins, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, but they're both so good in this as well. So Thelma Hopkins is also in this, and I've seen her face somewhere, so I looked up her what she's been in. She's been in Family Reunion, Casey Undercover, Dead to Me, which I just seen with Christina Applegate, and Linda Cardellini as well. I didn't know she was in that. Hey, it's you, as well, when I researched this as well. So that's interesting. And also the Casa Grande, what was I going to say? But, yeah, she's been in a lot of things as well as to George Wallace as well. So she plays the mom to the son as well. She's really funny as well. She's hilarious as well. She has her moments as well, but she balances, speaking of her as well, George Wallace and her really bounce off each other to make a scene. It doesn't pull away from another. It doesn't really outshine the other. And I thought she did a really good job doing that. I won't spoil it for you, but there's something going on between the two of them, which I can't talk about here, and have to show it for yourself. Wait, aren't they? That's all I'll say, but I think they're you know, as well. So that's your hint for you. So yeah, so she did a really good job also, and I like the fact that these are big names, but also they can balance off each other as well. It's a really good to have like both big stars. I think they're big stars in my eyes as well. I think they're big stars, but also like you could balance off each other without outshining the other. Because you do kind of worry about that when it comes to bigger stars, taking the lead, especially if you're acting aside each other as well. So that's really difficult. But kudos to her for pulling it off. It was really good as well. She's really she's kind of like the chill. Well, I wouldn't say she's not really Desiree's parent basically, but she's kind of like her adopted mother, which I kind of like. And there's an episode, she's like, yeah, that's my daughter. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. You feed that Desiree's your daughter. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. So yeah, so I really enjoyed her as well. Also, when it came to her son's outcoming story, she was like so accepted of his queerness, basically. Is that a word? Queerness? Anyway, it is. She was accepting her son's queerness, and a lot of your parents are not like that, but she's very open-minded, her character. So I really enjoyed it. It was really touching. Like, it's not like, oh, you can't be this. And she accepts her son the way she is, and and I think that's very sweet. And I think a lot of parents will take that into account when they watch the show as well. The only thing I will say here before I wrap this up, there's one scene in particular which I didn't quite get what's going on, because Desiree, the first episode, she's on her way to Alabama to see her dad, right? And she's talking to someone on the phone. Now, I'm not sure who that is she's talking to. They never specified or never, told us who that was. Is that a sister? Is that a dad's sister? Is that her mom's friend of hers that she knows? So I'm not sure. So she did say in the episode to her dad, like, she has chosen families. So I guess that's her, like, chosen family. But then how would she know about her situation with Desiree and her dad, basically? So I'm not sure what's going on there. At first, I thought that was her mom, but we found out later on. No spoilers. Unfortunately, their mom is no longer with them, technically. So, like, who's Desiree talking to? Is that, like, a friend of hers? I'm not sure. It was really confusing. That's the only part I would say that I would have. That's the only speed I would say that I have a problem with the show. But overall, besides that, it's a really good show. But I never really quite understood that part of the story, because they go to her grave later on in the episode, in the very first episode, and they establish that she's not with them. Like, where's the mama? Like, wait a second. If the mom's not there, then who was she talking to on that bus on the phone? So, because she knew all about her dad. So, I'm like, who is that? Are we going to find out who it is? Oh, maybe. So, that's the only takeaway. But besides that, it's a really good show. Go check it out. So, those are my thoughts on Clean Slate. What do you think? If you're bored or like have nothing else to do because there's nothing out on streaming at the moment, go and check this out. It's a really good show, really funny. I had a lot of fun. It really cracked me up because I've been very sick and very miserable lately. So it's a really good show. I really enjoyed it. Go check it out and see it. So what do you think? Make sure to like, share,